So here I am. So now let's look at body bending, exercise 7. So just like all the other exercises, we can do this independently. We can start in our natural stance, and then we can open up for the movement, or we would have completed exercise 6, twisting, and then from there we would do our transition. And this is slightly different than our normal, what we've done so far when we open to a wider horse stance, from pushing the sky to the archer. We shift, we step, we shift, we step. We do the same kind of movement, going from looking behind, exercise 4, to head and body swinging, exercise 5. So in exercise 7, again, our position for twisting is slightly wider than our normal hip width. It's towards the outside range of our shoulders. So we're not quite in a horse stance, but we're a little bit wider than normal. So our transition is going to be toes out, heels out. And that's going to put us in a, not our widest horse stance, but a wide enough posture what we consider horse stance. So this is probably the minimum. This is about a shoulder and a half to 2 shoulders width apart. Your feet are, and then again, that same transition. Instead of bringing the hands directly up to center, this is kind of a unique transition. I'll give you kind of a diagonal view. So I go toes out, breath in, and I'm actually going to scoop the chi, or scoop into the energy that's in front of my body, and pull the breath in. And then heels out, toes out, I'm still going to press down the center. And then for my second breath, I'm just going to hold that posture and take my second breath like normal. Hands up and down the center. Moving the energy up and down the Chiang Mai, the central meridian, and all that good stuff. So here we are for body bending. We're in a horse stance, and we're sitting lightly, just like we do for head and body swinging. When we come out, or for the archer, we're going to start in a high horse. The knees are still a little bit bent, but I'm not squatting, I'm not going deep yet. So I'm going to start in a comfortable high horse stance. And then I'm going to bring, we've completed our breath, we're going to bring our hands to Dharmic Position, or lotus position, the hands, which this particular mudra actually helps with learning, helps retain information in our brain, and helps our openness to the truth. So this is Dharma, or the truth. So here we are. Now we're going to open up the palms, and we're going to reach out, and our hands are at about a 45-degree angle downward, and our arms are shoulder width apart. And it's like you're holding your chi ball, but this time it's bigger. It's like the size of a beach ball or so. So now I'm going to place my gaze. So we talked about some of the tricks of the mind with looking behind, splitting consciousness and helping the brain shift brainwave states. We've also talked about, I hope we've talked about, we may not have, this is kind of an advanced trick, but I think we did talk about this, but in pushing the sky, when we come out, we're looking straight down the center line as the arms move. And the brain wants to focus on one thing or another, but you keep your eyes forward, and so it kind of creates this slipping into a trance. So a similar thing takes place in body bending, but this time instead of eyes picking up motion from the sides, we're looking directly down the center, and we're going to keep our gaze between our hands as we lift up, and it'll kind of do something with the room. It'll kind of blend and kind of smear your vision a little bit. It could. It does for me quite a bit. So looking directly between the hands, lifting the chi ball up to the heavens. Imagine that ball of energy collecting heavenly chi. And then we're going to sink and keep looking up. When we can go no further down, then we bend at the waist, rotate into the hips. And again, my vision is directly between my hands. And now I'm bringing that energy ball to the earth. And you can touch with your palms, your fingers. I think you have pretty good flexibility already. Some folks can't get all the way down, so they put the hands on the thighs. or they let the arms hang. But I believe I'm pretty sure you can get all the way down. So whatever you need to do to support yourself there. So now while we're down here, we're going to go toes out, heels out. We're going to open up the stance wider. And then we're going to kind of create an inversion, let the head drop really low, and straighten the legs. And we're going to get a stretch in the hamstrings and the calf muscles. So now we do this nice stretch in the legs, inversion of the head, get a lot of blood into the head. Then bend the knees, and now I'm going to rock forward slightly to the balls of my feet, bring my heels in to about a 45-degree angle. It varies a little bit day to day depending where I'm at. That opens up my hips. Then I'm going to sit to my right side and stretch my left. Then I'm going to stay as low as I can, move through the hips, use the arms, the hands to support yourself. Sit left, stretch right. So my leg is straight, my feet are flat. Notice my first one, I wasn't that stretched yet. My heel came off the ground, that's fine. Yours might. If you can, keep the feet flat. Then I'm going to return to center. And then when I go to straighten my legs, I'm going to rock forward on the balls of my feet again, bring my feet parallel. So now my stance is wider, my feet are parallel. And I'm going to do the same inversion and stretch my legs. Then sit. We're going to shorten the stance, heels in, toes in. Walk the hands up one at a time to the thighs and press yourself up with your arms just like we do with head and body swinging. We want to use the arms, not the lower back, to lift the body. So now I'm in about a medium height horse stance. I'm not in a high horse and I'm not pressed into a deep low horse. I'm about halfway between. And now my stance is going to stay fixed. Imagine like you're a pyramid, right? So wide, strong base, moving up to a focal point. So once we come up, we're going to brush the inner legs. And we have yin energy channels moving up the inseam of the legs, from the feet, from the toes. So we're going to kind of call that energy, and that's, again, like originally we were holding that ball of energy, and we lifted it up to the heavens. Well, now it's like we're calling that energy now, that ball, and creating this earth energy focused ball of energy. So now we've got this charged ball that has both heavenly chi and earth chi. And placing my gaze between my hands, my stance is still fixed. I'm going to raise that ball of energy once again to the sky, and I would be looking directly up at my hands, and my arms are directly to my sides as much as I can comfortably above my head. Then I'm going to rotate the fingertips in and flex my wrists. I'll give you a kind of a front view of that. So it's almost like your hands are shower heads. So now that energy is going to shower down the front and back of the body. Then we're going to turn the palms out. Give you another view of that. My hands are still fingers together, thumbs to the side of the palm. Right? So at first, my middle fingers were connected. I had a nice right angle flex. Then I turned my hands, palms down. There we go. I knew that felt wrong. Palms facing down, then out to the sides. So not only does this give you additional stretching in the wrists and the fingers and the arms, but now that energy is showering down the sides of the body. And then we flip the hands over and make a triangle. And now we're going to shine that energy through the crown of the head, through the center line of the body. And you might not be aware of all these things at one time, little by little. You'll kind of remember these kinds of things during our practice. Whether you know it or not, it doesn't matter, but again, it kind of helps to know what's going on. So now we're focusing that energy to the triangle, and then we open up wide, open palms, open fingers. We're about halfway down, just like pushing the sky, and again, our eyes are looking straight down the center, and our head is moving down with the movement of our arms. Again, getting that split consciousness. that shift in brainwave states. Halfway down, I switch to lotus position. I complete my circle and notice that my stance level did not change. Once I was up from my stretch and brushed, that stance stayed fixed. So it's kind of like this very strong pyramid energetic stance. And so that's one repetition. So you'll notice and then our transition is like normal, heels in, breath in, toes in, breath out, heels in, breath in, toes in, breath out, and we return to a natural stance, our normal hip width apart. So as we progress through Fire Flower, and we get to exercise 6 and we're twisting, wringing out the spine. Exercise 7, body bending, is a lot about lower body. A lot of things that happen, especially as we age, is we get tighter, less mobile. Then we, instead of pushing through that as best we can, or doing things to remedy that, often people start moving less, then they get even more tight, and then your body forgets its natural ability to do these kinds of things. So with all these exercises, we're taking ourselves out of our normal range of body movement and reminding and recalibrating our physiology, and which in turn, supports our health, reduces stress and illness, and again escalates and helps us with emotional, mental, psychological balance, and of course energetic and spiritual balance. So with body bending, we're getting this, there's some of the normal movements that are happening with the arms that we've done before, but it's a lot about this moving and gathering heavenly chi, earth chi into our chi ball, and then at the end, showering that with the palms, and then focusing it like a beam of light. Okay. And then again, the lower body, as you can tell. So when we're in our lower stance, I'll give it to you, and I'll show you kind of in a higher posture. So if I had somebody who is mobility challenged or flexibility, or has an ankle or knee or hip issue, or let's say today's body doesn't feel up to the deep stretch, basically what we're doing is, so if I was feeling a little bit less inclined for that deep stretch, then I would just let my arms hang. I would still do my opening up the feet, right? And do my stretch. I might have my hands on my knees if I feel like I need help with my balance or support muscularly, right? Or I might just let my hands hang and then bend the knees, heels in, leave the toes turned out. Then I would do the same stretch. I would sit right, stretch left first, but notice I haven't gone down deep and I'm using my hands to support my body. And this kind of gives you a better view of what's happening in the low stretch. Is on one side, right, we're getting a stretch of the thigh muscle. We're getting a stretch in the calf and the hamstring on one side, right, especially the hamstring and calf. On the other side, we're also getting another stretch of the thigh muscle, and we're getting a good stretch in the Achilles tendon in the heel. So this is really good, really helps open up the hips. Again, that's, as we age, that's a problem area, hips and the core. So this really helps us strengthen mobility in the hips, and then also lower body. And so again, we go to one side, and if I was doing a higher posture, I would sit to one side, stretch the other, then shift, sit to one side, stretch the other, right? Or maybe I could go a little bit deeper depending on where I'm at. I could also go really low depending on where my body is that day. Then I would return to center, straighten out my legs, parallel my feet, get my additional stretch, and then I would sit, heels in, toes in, and if I wasn't already up there, I would be bringing my hands up, but since I'm already up, I just sit upright. I call up yin, earth, divine energy in, create my ball, right? Notice that ball is focused around or in front of the sacral chakra, the root chakra. So we're holding that energy there, and then we're bringing it up, gathering heavenly chi, and then pouring it down, flowing down the front. You can imagine like a shower of energy down the front of the body, down the back of the body. Turn the palms out, Energy showering down the sides of the body. And then flipping the hands over, making the triangle, focusing energy down the center of the body. Open up, big circle. And there's, when we're doing fire breath, there's light to medium tension there, but not heavy duty tension. And one last thing, so when we get into breathing with body bending, there's 3 breaths. First breath, right? So here we are, we'll start over. So we're about shoulder width apart, slightly wider than normal. We open up, toes out, breath in, scooping up to the front, from the front up into the body. Heels out, breath out. We take our second cleansing breath. And then we begin, as always, on the empty, on the exhale. Then I would hold my ball, and I would inhale. That's inhale 1. I'd be looking up. My fingers are nice and straight, right? Palms facing each other. Maximum extension through the body, through the spine. And then I sit and I keep looking up. And when I can sit no further, then I bend at the waist. And all the meanwhile, as I'm coming down, bless me. So I'm on my inhale here, and exhale. Exhale, 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 exhale. Ideally, over time, you can exhale the whole time down. I hold my breath. I open up. And as I straighten my legs, I take my next breath in. I'm holding my breath on the inhale. This is the longest holding of the breath that we experience throughout the set. So you might take helper breaths or try to swallow, things like that. Helper breaths if you need them. So I would be on an inhale. I would sit, heels in, sit right, stretch left. I'd be holding my breath. All right, no, sit right, stretch, sit right, stretch left. Then I would sit left, stretch right. I'd still be holding my breath. I'd return to the center. I'd push my heels out. I'd stretch one more time, still holding my breath. I would sit, heels in, toes in, walk the hands up to the thighs, and then exhale them, pushing up. That would be the end of my second breath. I'd gather chi, create my chi ball, and then my third breath, inhale, lift. I hold my breath while I pour chi, and then I would exhale, just like pushing the sky all the way down till we get to the center. And then we would have, after however many we do, heels in, toes in, breath out, heels in, toes in, breath out. Okay, let's practice. Enjoy.